So the first arc is the battle trial arc. Let me also mention that these arcs all mentioned here, like some of them are short, some of them are long, some of them are like 4 chapters long. This is one of the shorter ones, but it happens at the beginning, and this is like the first big thing that Class 1A does. This is like when we see Bakugo team up with Ida and Uraraka team up with Izuku, and then we get that whole moment where it's like, Deku is the name of a hero, you know, that whole moment.
That impression was spot on.
Alright, yeah, I'm working on becoming a voice actor on the side. So what do you think about this battle trial arc?
So, like, it definitely, even though it's short, it does have a lot of memorable moments. The one that sticks out to me, actually, was Todoroki. Because at that point, I think we may have seen his quote once, but in this arc, that was when we saw him, like, freeze that entire building. And when I saw that, I remember thinking to myself, like, this guy is the strongest student. Naturally, it didn't turn out that way, but it was a pretty cool scene. And Deku overcoming his nervousness about Bakugo, that was pretty cool as well. So, I guess, yeah, this arc, if you think about it, it is pretty significant, even though it's so short, because it's the first time that Deku actually stands up to Bakugo in his whole life, basically. So yeah, I would personally, I'd put that around the B area, in the middle, maybe.
Yeah, I agree with that. B is fine with this. Also, going back to Shoto, that was like his first iteration of his costume. He looked very different, and he had like the red eye.
Yeah, I don't know. What's your opinion on that? It was very different. I'm glad he didn't keep with that, but it was cool to, you know, be introduced to him with.
I mean, I guess it was like a little too menacing, but at the time, I guess he was too, until he had like that 180 in his character, and then, you know,
yeah,
he changed his whole entire aesthetic as well. Okay, entrance exam arc. This is like the whole arc, I say loosely, with the, you know, the Izuku punching the robot with 100% for the first time.
Yeah, that was a cool scene. I would have that around C. It's definitely not bad at all. Like, it's entertaining, it's necessary, but when you compare it to these other arcs here, you know, it's not the best in the world. So I would put it around C, you know, decent, does the job, not bad.
Yeah. C, I mean, I honestly feel the same about that. This whole video is probably just going to be us agreeing, but we'll see. Yeah, I mean, we will eventually, but I'm saying, like, come on, the entrance exam arc and the battle trial arc, those are B's and C's, like, and that's not bad. It's just, you know, there's other
it is what it
things.
Is.
Yeah,
we can't put it on S. Like, it's just not. Yeah. It's not that. It's not that level.
Final exams arc. This is in the end of season 2, right? Yeah.
I'm actually gonna say D, and the reason I'm gonna say that is because it's actually mostly forgettable. Like, the one I remember is All Might and Bakugo and Deku. That is it. Like, I vaguely remember the others, but most of them did not stick out to me, so I'm gonna say that's
Oh man. Okay, here we go. Right up. The next one is where we're gonna disagree. Not only do I not think that final exam arc is a D, I think it's like A.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's A, because like you said, it has the All Might versus Bakugo and All Might moment. That is such an incredible epic moment in the series, something that we'll never have again. Like, think about it, because it's like we have All Might before he's completely nerfed, Bakugo and Izuku teaming up to take him on, and he does some amazing things in that fight. Oh, so awesome. But also the other fights in that are just, you know, the matchups in that arc. We have Shoto and Yaoyorozu taking on Aizawa. You didn't like that?
So that is the, you know, out of all of them, that is the one that was most, you know, in the front of my mind. Besides those two, it's not so great from what I remember. But yeah, it was mainly the Deku and Bakugo thing, and then second was Shoto and Yaoyorozu, because, you know, that was an important episode for her confidence, and I guess she lost a lot of self-belief after the sports festival, after Tokuyami destroyed her. So that whole episode was good for her getting back to her best. So yeah, I can't lie, that was a good episode too. But for the most part, though, I feel like it was kind of forgettable.
And then Nezu. We got to see Nezu for the only time ever actually do something, and it was amazing.
I'm going to be honest, I just remember him in a crane. I don't remember
anything else. He sets up this elaborate Rube Goldberg type thing to, like, destroy Kaminari and Ashido.
Oh, did they not pass? Did they?
No, they fail. Because also it seems unfair because Nezu goes so hard on them, like so ridiculously hard on them. Like we see the other teachers, take it easy on them. Like Aizawa and All Might clearly take it easy on their students, but Nezu doesn't. Like he just destroys them. It's kind of funny.
I mean, he's the principal, man. He has to live up to his reputation, right?
So I guess we'll meet in the middle. You say D, I say A. So we go to like C, maybe B. C.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, yeah, C. C's good with me.
Forest Training Camp arc. This is a more talked about, more known arc for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this was the first introduction of most of the League of Villains, right? Like, I'm pretty sure Dabi and Toga, they never made an appearance until this arc and the build up to it. So I'm gonna give it a B. I'm gonna say B.
Yeah, I agree with that too. It was solid, pretty memorable, pretty good. I remember when I first saw it or read it, I was like, oh, this is when stuff's getting, real. It's getting serious now. Yeah, B is fine.
And it had a good conclusion as well. Bakugo being kidnapped, that's no joke.
And that leads us to the Hideout raid arc, which is the follow-up to that. What do you feel about that?
Top tier My Hero Academia. This is peak My Hero Academia.
All right, now we're on the same page.
I'm gonna say S.
Yeah.
Just like the suspense, you didn't know what was gonna happen, and for a second, you weren't sure if Bakugo was gonna turn to the villain side. Like we all saw how he was as a person. He was so angry and aggressive. I considered it. I was like, maybe he might become a villain now. Obviously, it didn't pan out, which I'm happy about. But yeah, there was a lot of suspense, a lot of unknowns. We weren't sure if All Might was going to survive as well. So yeah, top tier.
I agree completely. When I first read it / watched it, I thought it was moving super fast, maybe a little too fast. I was surprised when All Might was actually squaring off against All for One. I thought, whoa, it's way too soon for this to happen. But in retrospect, obviously it was perfectly paced. And I think the whole United States of Smash sequence is like one of the greatest moments in all of battle manga and anime, in my opinion.
100%.
And like, clearly one of the best moments in the series. So S for sure. School Festival arc. Here we go.
This is going to be controversial because
for sure.
Yeah, I know a lot of people love this arc, and I understand its importance, and I'm glad it's in the series actually. But I personally do not enjoy watching it. I remember when it was airing. At the time, I was watching My Hero Academia week to week. When they started, I just let it build up, and I just watched it later. I'm not the biggest fan of it, so I'm gonna say D. But that doesn't mean Gentle Criminal is bad. Doesn't mean La Brava is bad. Just means if I was gonna rewatch them, this would probably be the last one.
Yeah, I agree. It seems like there's, I don't know, maybe different sections of this community, this fandom, and maybe there's only one part of it that really enjoys this arc, and I think that's what this arc was made for, or who this arc was made for. Like Horikoshi has to appeal to that part of the fan base. I mean, if you look at the music video with Jiro, it has like, I don't know, 10 million views or something, maybe more than that.
Yeah, it's super popular.
So it has an audience, but I'm just not a part of it, and that's all I'll say. I think this is by far the weakest arc in the series, and I really hope that Horikoshi decides to never do something like that again.
Oh, it would be just so random if, considering where we are right now. I can't.
No, I'm saying, I mean like the final arc, the final like 6-7 chapters, just slice of life stuff. Pro Hero arc,
that's like, short and sweet, shows us what Hawks can do, shows us what the High and Nomu can do. Endeavor's big moment, his All Might moment almost. Because it's not so long, I wouldn't put it on between A or B. What do you think?
I think A. I think it's super memorable. Like, at least when I think of arcs in My Hero, I think of the Pro Hero arc because it's Hawk's introduction. You instantly fall for Hawks. The High-End Nomu versus Endeavor is awesome. And the anime adapted it really good too. I mean, despite them rushing it, it came out fantastic, at least I think. I remember we did a collab last year around the time that came out, and we talked about, like, is this the best episode of My Hero Academia? Like, it was that good at the time.
Almost like the overall vibe. It was like a movie. It was just like the animation was, you could tell they put their all in. It was an iconic episode, great arc. Just if it was longer, if there was more to it, then I would say S. But because it's still a bit brief, I'm going to say A.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Joint training arc.
C, yeah.
C.
Yeah. It's not terrible at all. Like I was saying in a video the other day that I did on my channel, like I appreciate the importance of this arc. I appreciate the animation, which was good. Despite the flaws of season 5, the animation was still good. Black Whip, obviously super important as well. So you can't hate it, but yeah, when you compare it to the best arcs, it's not quite there. So yeah, it has to be C.
Yeah, if there was like a C.5, I'd put it there. But yeah, C. It seems like it could have been a lot better, right? I mean, you have like an awesome foundation, Class 1A versus Class 1B, but it just kind of, I don't know, wasn't as epic as I thought it would be.
Yeah, you know, one easy comparison to make with this, I mean, we'll talk about the sports festival later, but you know, the whole premise of the joint training arc was similar to the sports festival in that you have the kids fighting each other, and the sports festival was like almost like magic, you know, whereas the joint training arc was just like going through the motions. By comparison, it didn't have the same magic as the sports festival.
That's a great way of putting it, going through the motions. I guess it kind of was like that. Meta Liberation arc. I guess this is the My Villain Academia.
I remember, I mean, I'm sure you remember this as well. Like when it was coming out week to week, it almost caused a divide. Like not everyone was loving it. Not everyone was loving it. A lot of people didn't see where it was going. But looking back in hindsight, it's probably one of the best arcs in the series. So I'm gonna say B. Yeah, I'm gonna say B.
Oh, I was thinking more towards S actually.
Yeah, I could see that as like. Don't get me wrong, I could see that, but then when I'm thinking about S is like, you know, the peak My Hero Academia. I feel like it's just below that. So you know what? I'm gonna be a bit more generous. I'll say it's A.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say right below the peak. Like if there was A.5, I would put it there. So yeah, I think A is fair. What you were saying about when it was coming out, you saw a divide. I saw personally, from my perspective, or where I was in the echo chamber, less of a divide and more of praise for it. And even at the time when it was coming out, we were talking about it, at the time being the best arc. And I was like, yeah, this is probably the best arc so far. Like when Shigaraki nukes the city, we were like, wow, this is like the best arc.
Yeah, and it did have some great, like, iconic moments. And hopefully, maybe one day, a few years from now, we'll see it get animated as well.
Maybe in an OVA.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. Yeah, oh man, I'm so curious to see how this is going to resolve with the anime stuff. But Endeavor's agency arc. So this is the arc after the My Villain Academia and right before the war. Though this is what's currently being adapted into the anime.
Yeah, I would give it a B. It's good. That's it. It's good. So, yeah.
I was thinking more C. I think it's a pretty weak arc considering the strength of the other arcs. I would say it's just, I hate that, this term being thrown around, but it's like mid,
I guess, yeah. It has some slow parts, but also there was the ending thing, Black Whip, Deku picking up all those cars. It has a really cool moment, and also it sets up Toya a little bit more than we'd ever seen before. But I can see it being C as well, so I'll go with you on that one.
I mean, like, I don't want to put this arc down. It's fine, but if you go through my playlist of my review for the series, the My Hero series, I pretty much have every single chapter reviewed from like, I don't know, 214 or something. And then there's like a gap of 2 or 3 chapters and it's the Aizawa and Shirakumo stuff. Like, I mean, I covered one of those chapters, but then like 2 or 3 chapters in between that stuff, I didn't even want to review it because that's how uninterested I was at this time of the story.
Well, here's the thing. Did you know about Shirakumo, or was it like a brand new thing?
No, I had known about it for Vigilantes.
I thought the Shirakumo stuff was cool. I don't know if we count this part of the Endeavor Agency. I guess we do. If we do count it, I might put it up to a B actually, because I really like the Shirakumo stuff.
I guess it has to be a part of that because the Meta Liberation arc ends at 240 something, and then the War arc opens at 253.
One thing I was thinking, I don't know how they officially count it. I was wondering if the Shuriken stuff counted as part of the war arc though, because you know how he like gave away the hospital and then that was how they then went to the hospital. I don't know if it counted as part of that, but I guess if it's Endeavor Agency, then Endeavor Agency gets a little bit more of a boost in my opinion.
Oh, okay. I mean, it technically is a part of the Endeavor Agency arc, but I don't know how they decide upon it on the wiki. I guess they're getting the information from the volumes, maybe?
Yeah, they might do, but I don't even know if the volumes put it like that. They just have the chapter numbers, but I don't think they say like this chapter is this arc, this chapter is that arc.
Yeah, I don't even know how they know the name of the villain hunt arc. Like, how do they know the name of that?
I think it's just a guy making it up until confirmed by.
Oh well. So B for Endeavor Agency arc?
Yeah.
Okay. Paranormal Liberation War arc.
Easiest one we've done today. S every time.
Okay, so now I guess we'll come back and do that. We'll do it right now. Only with the S's. Is it better than the Hideout Raid arc?
100%. 100%. They're both great, both amazing, but the Paranormal Liberation War had me on the edge of my seat like I was watching an anime every week. It's just so many twists and turns, you know, like 1 second we think he's dead. You remember that chapter when he like didn't have a heartbeat, was on the floor? Next chapter, he's the strongest character in the series. There was just so many twists and turns. Deva versus Shigaraki, Deku versus Shigaraki, Jagatsumaki versus the students. Oh, it had everything. So I cannot wait to see this in season 6 as well. I hope they don't mess it up because it is the best. Peak My Hero Academia. Can't get any better.
Yeah, I agree. And also considering its length, it's I think the longest arc in the series. It's like 40 something chapters. 253 to 306. So it's also incredibly strong for every chapter that it has within it. Like, arcs can be strong in some chapters or it'll take some time to get to some stuff, but this is like every single chapter is a banger or really good or something substantial happens in it.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, there are very few things I thought were bad about this. Like, very few things. The only flaws that I saw was towards the end. I'm talking like the last 9 chapters, maybe. There were a few things that weren't so great. Like, for example, Best Genius being alive. I thought that was a bit of a cop-out. There was another thing as well. Compress's reveal. I liked the reveal. I just felt like it could have happened later because it felt like there were so many reveals happening back to back to back to back. But still,
I agree.
I felt like they could have saved that a bit, but still though, it was great. It was just amazing, to be honest, week to week, and I'm sure it'll be even better in the anime, I hope.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be, unless they just edit out all of the gratuitous stuff, like what they're doing with the Villain Academia, but I'll see. Provisional License Exam arc.
Ooh, so this is a funny one, because when I watched this, I didn't have a YouTube channel, I didn't have Twitter, so I watched this, I like this arc, and then I remember coming on Twitter, much later, just seeing how many people hated it. And I was really surprised because I thought this was actually a decent arc. The stakes aren't so high, All for One's not destroying a city, but it's entertaining. They fleshed it out in the anime with, Shoto and stuff. We got to meet a new school, which is something different. We got Inasa, who's pretty cool, his dynamic with Shoto. So I didn't hate this. I actually thought it was pretty good. So I'm going to say B.
Yeah, B. Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you said. I personally really enjoy this arc. I think it's better than the Endeavor Agency arc. It's pretty memorable to me. I don't know. It's just a well done arc, but not like anything special. Like B, high B for sure. I just wish they did more things like this, like bringing the other schools together or, bring the international schools together. I mean, it's not going to happen now, but so much potential.
And I feel like the way they fleshed this arc out is what I want them to do for the Paranormal Liberation War. Because, the filler with not just Shoto, but you also had filler with Momo as well. Like, she was going up against that really intelligent character from another school. I feel like if they followed the same formula and do that for season 6, it could be the best season ever.
That's a great point. You bring out filler for the war arc. That sounds like it could be amazing. Or maybe not amazing, but it'll probably be pretty good. Quirk Apprehension Test arc. This is like when they're throwing the balls and stuff.
Yeah. This is at the very beginning, and it's really short. I'm not even sure if you can call it an arc, because
that's what I'm saying. Some of these are, I think it's 3 or 4 chapters. Give it a D for the person putting it on here. A remedial course arc.
I'm gonna say that's a D.
Oh, wow. Harsh. What didn't you like about it?
I can't pinpoint it exactly, but it wasn't boring. It was just like, I felt like this could have all happened off screen, because if you think about it, Shoto and Bakugo in the remedial course, they did a lot more than what we saw in this little bit here, right? So for most of the remedial course, we didn't see anything. And I felt like if they were going to show us something from the remedial course, it could have been a bit more interesting than them basically putting on a theme park for these kids. But yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's just that this was the only thing they showed us from that whole course, which lasted a while. So I feel like they could have shown us something a little bit more interesting than what we got. But that being said, it did introduce us to one of my favorite young characters, which is Tamashiro, the guy with the binging bull quirk. I just love his quirk, so yeah, I did enjoy that part.
His quirk is really cool. I wish we could have seen what the potential of it was.
In the next generation, bro. In the next generation, we will see.
Maybe. We'll see. It won't be Horikoshi if there is.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
It'll be like a Boruto situation. Shihei Hasakai arc.
Oh yeah, this is one of my favorites. I'm gonna say A.
Yeah, perfect A. Yeah, so we have the My Villain Academia and Pro Hero arc in A, and I think this is definitely the same tier of those arcs for sure.
Yeah, like overhaul, great villain. He was really intimidating, you know, like that quirk by definition is almost terrifying. You know, with one touch he can kill you. So it was a really great arc. Mirio as well had his chance to shine. I feel like it was really great.
Yeah, it's one of the more memorable arcs for sure. Like when you think about My Hero Sports Festival arc.
I was gonna say A actually. Now I'm reconsidering. Could this be an S?
Oh, I was thinking A.
I was thinking A too, but then it just occurred to me, like, if there was gonna be another S out of all these other arcs, could it? I think it could be the Sports Festival actually, because this is like classic My Hero Academia. Like in this video, I've spoken a lot about peak My Hero Academia. The Sports Festival is classic My Hero Academia. This is what it's about. They're in school, having a sports festival. It's awesome. So I'm gonna say S.
Yeah, I mean, when this arc happened in the anime, it like won all of the Crunchyroll awards. And I know that's not like a huge deal or an indicator of quality, but I definitely knew at that time that the series was special. Like that's what drew my attention to it when I saw all the attention that the Sports Festival arc was getting.
Honestly, yeah, it was fantastic. Even the episodes which aren't as memorable, like for example, the Deku versus Shinzo one, which, you know, I'm not sure if people consider that memorable or not, but for me it is. I love that episode. You know, Deku facing someone who is having a similar struggle to him in that their quirk is in, you know, obviously Deku was quirkless, but Shinzo is kind of the way that Deku used to be. And, you know, them coming face to face, Shinzo's quirk, I just love that episode. And obviously the Bakugo and the Uraraka one as well. There's just so many good moments. So yeah, I think this is S.
Yeah, you're right. Now that you mention it, there are so many strong moments, chapters and episodes in it. So yeah, I guess it is an S. Yeah. USJ.
Obviously this was good. The Nomu, which was freakish, terrifying.
When All Might defeats him, I think that moment is an S moment for sure. It's up there with the United States of Smash for me personally, and I think the anime adaptation of it is incredible, but I don't think that alone should give it an S. But I think overall it's pretty good, but I don't think it's like S though, you know?
It's not an S. What I'm thinking about right now is if it's an A or B. That's my main thing that's going off in my head. You know, obviously Kurogiri separating all the students and then they all had to fight their own individual battles. That was pretty cool. Shigaraki, this was like baby Shigaraki.
I was gonna say this was when Shigaraki wasn't likable at all, at least for me. Like I did not like Shigaraki until maybe he has that big turnaround with Overhaul.
That's when he first started to become a real leader.
Yeah.
Until that moment, I mean, I think All Might even says it, like he was a child, really.
Yeah, somebody else there's like, he's a man-child.
Exactly, yeah. I feel like this was just, it wasn't Shigaraki's best performance in this series. So I'm going to say B, but you know what? I'm going to give it an A still. I'll say A.
Yeah, like bottom A.
Yeah.
So Stain arc, the penultimate.
I'll let you take this one first because I'm conflicted.
I really love Stain as a character. I'm really excited for him to come back into the story. And I think, you know, his stretch of chapters was great. I think this is probably an A. It wasn't really that long, but for what it was, I think it was pretty strong and very memorable, at least for me. And the way that it wraps up is like so cool. You're all fakes. Like when he's like, oh, and the way the anime adapts it is just amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And I think the whole thing with Ida trying to get for his brother, he was acting in a way we'd never seen him act before, because up to that moment he was always like, he did everything the way he was told, followed the rules 100%, and then as soon as something happened to his brother, he was like, yo, I'm gonna look down these dark alleyways, I'm gonna find him, I'm gonna kill him or beat the crap out of him. Like, it was a different side to Ida that pretty cool to see. In my mind, I'm thinking B, to be fair, but I can see why to you and many other people, so I'll let you decide which.
We can meet at B. I think meeting at B is fine. Maybe one of the stronger B arcs. But the final one is the current one we are in, the Villain Hunt arc. What do you think? I mean, we're not, as of this recording, it hasn't completed yet, but I think we're definitely towards the end. I mean, according to the wiki, it starts at chapter 307, and we're on 321 right now, so it's probably coming to a close sooner or later.
Yeah. So there are a lot of great things about this. There's also things that are not so great, but I'll talk about the great things first. So the great things, Deku showing us how much he's progressed. I love the way that Horikoshi has been bringing back these previous villains who Deku's faced in the past. And in all those fights, he struggled in the past. You know, against Muscular, he struggled a lot. And then to see him defeat Muscular in one punch, it was just like, it's Horikoshi telling us Deku has come a long way. And I do appreciate that, like just showing us how much he's grown. The one thing I didn't like so much, and I actually saw you talk about this in one of your videos that I watched, is like the way All For One knows everything. Like he just predicts every damn thing that anyone's about to do. He's like, oh yeah, I knew you were going to be tired and injured. I knew you were going to go here. I knew you were going to do this. Like it got a bit much, but besides that, it's pretty good arc. So I'm going to say it is, let's see how it finishes up, because some cool stuff is happening with Deku and Class 1A as we record this video. So I'm going to say high B, and depending on how the rest of the arc goes, has strong A potential.
Yeah, I agree with that. Strong A potential for sure, depending on how it works out. So, you know, high B for now. Yeah, like if All For One knows everything, then why don't you just seal the deal, man? Just finish it. What is this weird long game you're playing?
He's a weird guy, man. He's like, what? For example, he knew Deku was going to show up at the mansion. Okay, why didn't you just lay a trap to kidnap him or something? Like, why did you just explode it for no reason? Like, there's some weird decisions by All For One. I can't lie. But I guess it's all part of his grand plan, right? He knows what he's doing.
His grand plan to come so close, but to ultimately fail to the power of friendship.
Oh yeah, it has to be that way.
Nah, probably. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's going to be it for this one. Thank you, Turtle Quirk, for coming on the channel. I think we did a pretty good job. I mean, if you look at it, it looks...
Yeah, it looks good.
Pretty accurate, yeah.
I'm interested to see how people in the comments, how much they agree or disagree with this, because I'm happy with the way this looks right now.
I think a majority of them will be on board with it. But if you liked the video, guys, please give it a like. And please check out Turtle Quirk's channel if you haven't already. I mean, you probably have, but in case you haven't, check it out and subscribe to him. He makes awesome content. And yeah, have a great day. See you in the next one.